Getting into a top college sucks. It takes months of work, it's almost impossible to stand out, and half the time you don't even know if what you're doing is actually helping your chances. I've talked to over 100 students this year and read over 200 essays alongside our team with over 25 years of experience in admissions. And I've seen exactly what makes some applications get forgotten and others fought for in the committee. So in this video, I'm gonna get rid of all that BS over complicated advice and actually show you the simplified method to build a college application that actually gets remembered. The first thing that actually matters more than anything is understanding that the idea of your application is more important than the details, by far. What I mean by idea is the general idea of your profile, of the image that the admissions officer will have of who you are. This means the values that you're gonna show, the character traits, the things you like, and all the small details that make you who you are. That's your main idea, rather than the details themselves, which is how I'm gonna make it happen, right? The specific activities on what I wanna do. How am I gonna write the essay? Those small details, I'm not focusing on that. If you don't have a good idea as a foundation, the details just will not work. And if you do have a really good idea or a concept of the narrative and the things you want to show, then the details will just probably fall into place. Obviously, it is important, but the idea always comes first. And the idea doesn't have to be revolutionary. Do you think the over 15,000 applicants that get accepted into Ivy Leagues every single year all reinvented the wheel with their applications? No, I mean, a lot of the topics are the same and the same as last year and whatever. But it's not about the things they talk about. It's about how they show themselves and the main idea of what they want to show. For example, let's talk about a bad idea and a good idea with the same topic. So, for the bad idea, let's say you want to talk about going to the gym and working out. There, your idea is showing your healthy habits, showing that you're disciplined, whatever. You can either present it as, yeah, I love working out and it's like my hobby, and then in your essay you talk about how you wake up early and do all this stuff and then work out and how you're disciplined, but that's just boring and generic. So how can we make this idea better? Specifically for the working out scenario, if you want to show, your profile and your idea of being disciplined and having healthy habits, mix it with some cool stuff and show more of yourself in there. Don't make it just generic and say the things you want to say to sound good. For example, let's say you want to study physics. You can connect working out to physics, talking about how you've optimized your routines maybe with, mechanical tension and the machines and how you've made sure to do your research and understand the workouts themselves before, actually making your routines, right? So optimization, and you connect maybe your major with a hobby. Do you understand how it's way more interesting to hear about how you optimize your routines with math rather than how you woke up early and were disciplined? Yeah, you show the same things, but the way and the idea of showing it and the idea that the admissions officer will build in their mind is way better for that second guy that connected it with math and physics. This is what I mean by the idea. The physics, math, gym guy doesn't really care about the details about how he's gonna write his stuff or the specific extracurriculars. His idea is, I want to connect health with math. And that's cool, right? The idea itself is pretty nice and it works itself out. Pretty much all students from 9th to 12th grade get distracted by details, and it's completely normal, but you need to be focused. How I like understanding this is with a scene from The Matrix. If you've watched The Matrix or you haven't, it's totally fine. You're still probably gonna get the point. So in The Matrix, there's this scene where Neo, the protagonist, is walking with Morpheus, who is his mentor. And they are walking through the street against a ton of people dressed in suits that are bumping against them, and they're just walking while Morpheus is explaining to Neo a little bit of, some stuff he has to know. So while they're walking through the street, on the corner of Neo's eye, he catches a woman dressed in red, with a red dress. The woman walks past, and Neo can't help himself to just follow her with his sight. So before he turns back, Morpheus says,
"Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?"
And before Neo can even say anything, Morpheus says,
Look again.
So Neo looks back, and there's Agent Smith with a gun pointed at his head. And this is how I think about those distractions, in life in general, but specifically with college admissions, all those details and things that sound really cool, those are the woman in the red dress. It's really, engaging to look at. You really want to go and chase her, but you're just deviating from your path. And trust me that if you follow that woman, there will be another woman later. And you're going to just keep getting distracted until it's too late. I talk with students every single day, and for example, a lot of the times, someone books a call and I talk with them, they show me their essay and they tell me hey, yeah, the essay is basically finished and you just need a couple, small structure and grammar changes. Can you please do that for me? And I say like, hey, yeah, sure. And as soon as I read the essay, the idea is just bad. And honestly, what they need is just to rewrite it with another idea. They get distracted in the details because it's easier to focus on the small things rather than changing the entire big picture and solidifying one. So lastly, an actionable step for this, create an image for yourself, write it down, and that idea of the things you want to show and the things you want to do to show that, maybe your activities that you're planning, things you're doing, or maybe your essays. If you're a senior, talk about it to a friend, to a family member, someone that knows you. If they instantly get the idea and the message you're trying to convey, then that's your core message, you have your idea. If they don't, then you're stuck in the details and you gotta rethink about everything and the main package of how you want to be seen. The second thing you gotta understand is that the feeling is more important than the format. Admissions officers read hundreds of applications per day. So what do you think they are gonna remember? Is it the format, the things you specifically wrote about in your essays? Is it like the specific structuring and like cool details that you added in your essays, or the random details in the activities that you had? Or how they felt about them? Oh, this student is really cool. Oh, that was a really fun essay. Oh, that was really creative. Oh, that's a really cool activity that they've been doing. What do you think? Obviously, they are going to remember the feeling more, especially in those first rounds. And yes, the format does matter, obviously, since at some point with Ivy League specifically, it comes down to really small details, who gets accepted and who gets rejected. But the feeling is the thing that they are going to remember the most. And you have to be careful because the feeling can also be negative. Like, they will remember students for being really cool, fun, or impressive, and they will remember students from being really stupid or just really bad. They will remember based on how their applications made them feel. Either through the free one-on-one calls that I do or the students I work with inside College Connect, I can usually tell who's Ivy bound within the first 30 minutes. And it's not because impressive stats or anything, it's literally because of the energy in the call. You can just feel it. The way they talk about their ideas, the way they show curiosity, their drive to actually work and actually improve themselves, it's contagious and it's amazing. It's just that confidence. And I know the concept of like energy is really just vague, so let's reduce it to confidence, which is really what it is. And confidence, by definition, is an outcome of accumulated evidence from taking action, which in simple words is just proof. As an example, let's say that every single time you study for a math test, you ace it. You get like the max score possible. Eventually, after getting the max score enough times with the condition that you'd studied previously, you'd know that every single time you studied, or at least you'd be confident that every single time you studied, you would get a good grade in math. You would build up that confidence because you got that accumulated evidence from your actions. And if you don't have that confidence, it's probably because you haven't taken action. A student that's in 12th grade that from 9th grade has always done activities and worked on their application, made sure it's optimized, talked with people, talked with mentors, made sure everything's good, and they've taken action on the things that they actually like and want to major in for their application, they'll be confident with their application because they literally did a ton of stuff and it all worked out in the past. So why not now? They will have that confidence and it will shine through. But if you don't have that yet, this is where we start. Because once you actually find that feeling behind your story, so that narrative that actually fits you, everything else just clicks. And even a simple idea, just like before, with the right tone, it can really stand out anyways, regardless of what it is. So as an actionable step here, read your essays and activities out loud. If it feels flat, overpolished, or robotic, rewrite it or replan it until it actually feels like something that you'd say or do. And the last thing is that consistency matters more than perfection. Consistency doesn't mean repetitiveness. It just means that your entire application is cohesive and it sounds like the same person wrote it and like it's the same applicant. It's insane how sometimes you read an activities list from a student and they all look like they are from different people. And then you read the essays and the essays don't connect the activities. You need to create that consistency and that string that ties everything together. If you don't do that, then it will just sound just random. Yeah, maybe perfect, maybe good activities and whatever, but it wouldn't sound authentic. And it will happen, the things that a lot of students worry about, where they feel like everything's forced, like they forced everything to make their application look good, and they are worried that the admissions officers might get that feeling. This is how you get that feeling, by not having that consistency and the string that ties everything together. And even though this is pretty simple to understand, a lot of people overlook it, and it's one of the biggest mistakes people do on their applications. So as an actionable step, look at your application and the things you're doing and ask yourself, would someone reading all this describe the same person that I'm trying to show? If not, tighten your story and make sure that consistency is there. Another big mistake here is that a lot of people, when writing their essays and their applications, assume that the reader knows about them. There's a lot of small details in context that people just don't know unless you explain them. And since for you it's like second nature, you assume they know it, but they just don't. So you have to be careful with that as well. You have to be consistent and make sure that your story actually ties together and there's a clear image of like what you're trying to show and who you are in your application. So as a quick final summary, since this video is for idiots like me, first of all, you gotta focus on the idea, have a clear image of how you wanna show yourself to the admissions officers and make sure that you're actually showing that through your activities and everything else that you are doing. Then make sure the feeling is there, whatever feeling you want to show, right? Motivation, energy, happiness, whatever you want to show, make sure the feeling is there. And not only like they understand that and they get it, they have to feel it. So add humor in your application. Do cool things that maybe don't really relate to your major, but just do them, have fun, and add more aspects of your life in there. Like show who you are, truly. Show your feelings and the things you're passionate about. And lastly, that consistency. Be consistent. Everything in your application should look like you. It should all make sense. And the decisions you made them for a reason. And it all connects, right? Make sure it's actually connected when you write and send your application or while you're building it throughout high school. It's important that everything connects and it makes sense. If you mainly focus on these three general things, trust me that everything else will just fall in place. And yes, the details and the small things are important, but this is more important.